Video is to allow you to correct your homework for section 7.2.1. Problems are 7-100 through 7-105. So the first thing you need to do for 7-100 is find the missing value in each pairs of equivalent ratios. So remember, you can use your cross product technique. Basically what you're doing is taking 6 times 10 and then you are dividing by 15. The other way to think of this, remember, is that this is basically an algebra equation. You're going to multiply diagonally across this way, you're going to multiply diagonally across this way, and what you end up getting is 6 times 10 is 60, 15 times x is 15x, and so then you're dividing both sides by 15 to get the value of x. So what's happening is, when we taught you sort of the shortcut method of multiply the two diagonally that you know and divide by the third, it's because it is basically an algebra equation that you're creating, and then you're solving that equation. So x equal to 4. Same concept here. 8 times 9 is 72. That equals 12 times x. 72 equals 12x. How do we get x by itself? We divide both sides by 72. So you take 72 divided by 12 and get an answer of 6. And then here, 200 times 38 equals 16 times m. Divide both sides by 16. M equals 475. For 7-101, Samantha's parents are going to paint her room. Her color choices for the walls include 3 different shades of white, 4 shades of tan, 2 shades of blue, 3 shades of green, and 4 shades of pink. So what's the probability she would randomly select any shade of blue or pink? Well, what we can see is that there are 6 types of blue or pink. The 2 shades of blue and the 4 shades of pink, so that's 6, out of, if you add up all of the shades, 16 altogether. So 6 16ths, but we would simplify that to 3/8. Then the local sports shop has backpacks on sale for $28. The original price was $40. What's the percent decrease? So again, you can do this in more than one way. One way is to solve it algebraically. $28 is what percent of 40? All right, well, 28 is equals, when we don't know a percent or we don't know a value, we put in our variable. I used n in this case. Of means times the 40. So I rewrote it so that the coefficient was in front of the variable. So 28 equals 40n. And then divide by the 40. You get a decimal, but remember they want to know the percent decrease. So we need to change that decimal to a percent. Okay. So you get then 70%. Now, if it's 70% of the original price, that means it's a 30% decrease. All right, now that can be a little confusing to people, so I want to be clear. The sales price is 28, so 28 is 70% of the price, which means it went down by 30. The other way you could have done it is you could have subtracted the 40 minus the 28. You get a difference of 12, and then figure out 12 is what percent of 40. You could solve that algebraically, and then you would get your 30% right away. You'd get 0.30. So if you look at the difference, it will save you a step or two. Again, there's other ways you could solve it and find that answer as well. Here you need to make sure you have work shown. I'm going to simply put the answers, but you need to make sure you can justify it with your work. So here you'd need a common denominator. You end up getting 5/24. Here you would want to show your keep, change, flip, simplify as well. You get 3 1/3. Here you'd want to show that you changed them to improper fractions before you multiplied. You get 77/16, but of course that's improper. We need to change it to a mixed number. 4 13/16. Here I should see your keep, change, flip. You get -8 4/7. Here you just want to simplify. I would simplify before I multiply, make it easier in my opinion. You get 3/20. Here I should see your keep, change, flip, negative 3 3/8. Here, common denominator of 21. You get negative 1 over 21. This is a little bit in the way. Here I would need to, since I'm multiplying, multiply across, but also simplify, and you get negative 21 over 50. For 7104, Stephanie's earning simple interest of this amount on her money each month. She currently has this much in her account, so she's earning interest on this amount. What's her balance in 5 months? Well, we know that interest equals the principal, which is the amount of money, times the rate as a decimal, times the time. So take the principal amount, which is here, times the rate as a decimal, move the decimal point 2 places to the left, times the time, which is 5 months. And you find that if you round that answer, you can use a calculator, you get this dollar amount. But again, that's the amount of interest, that's not her balance. She still has the amount she started with. So her balance is the $1,325 she started with plus the interest equaling that. Again, you may want to pause the video to check that. For 7105, Eduardo's friends guessed how many jelly beans were in a jar at his birthday, and these are the guesses. They want you to make a histogram to display it, a box plot, and talk about the measure of center that's most appropriate and which one shows the median the best. So the first thing you would do is put the numbers in order from least to greatest, which is what I did. To make the histogram for that, I'm going to break it into sections of 10, so 60 to 70, 70 to 80, 80 to 90, and so on. I have 3 values between 60 and 70, so that's the height of that bar. I have 3 values from 70 to 80, that's the height of that bar, and so on. We need to include these values, even though there's no data for that. There just won't be any bars in that section. When you do the box plot, remember you need to start by, again, finding the median. So that's why we need to have these numbers in order so we can pick out the median. All right. And then you need to find the quartile 1, which is the median of the first half, quartile 3, the median of the second half, and make your box plot. So what we get is halfway between 75 and 80 is a median of 77.5. Then we look at the median of this half of the data and the median of this half of the data. The median of the first half is 68. That's halfway between 65 and 71. The median of the second half is 93.5, halfway between these two values. So again, we make a line to represent the quartile 1, the line to represent the median, the line to represent the quartile 3. Don't forget to put the values above there, because you can see that they went by, tens, it looks like on the bottom here. So unless you put the values here, it's going to be very hard to tell what value you intended. And then to the lowest value, to the highest value, you'll have your whiskers and you have your numbers. As far as the last parts go, the median would be the best way to show the measure of center because there's this outlier at 152. It's a much bigger value than the previous values. And then, which one shows the median the best? Of course, the box plot does.